Welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome to our relaunch of the Soulful Leader Virtual Global Gatherings. I want to start with this beautiful quote just to bring us into the moment right now, at this moment. And this is by Richard Rudd. And he is the creator of the Gene Keys, if those of you are familiar with the Gene Keys. So let's begin. May love pour through our soul, binding us together as one. May light flower in our hearts, lending us the grace of transform our fear. May warmth radiate in our belly, bringing prosperity to all. May purity shimmer in our bones, filling us with the light of the stars. May kindness resound in our voices, softening the path that lies ahead. May clarity shine through our minds as we lay in the same of the infinite, of the arm of the infinite. May solace abound in our lives, touching all who we meet. May solace abound in the world, bringing all beings into perfect union. And so it is. Take a deep breath and take it and receive it. Beautiful. Well, welcome to our relaunch of the Soulful Leader Virtual Gathering. My name is Sahar Nafal. I'm the founder of the Soulful Leader community. Whether you have been coming to our events for the past 15 years in person, or you have been joining us on virtual Zoom gatherings, or meeting us at Clubhouse or on Facebook Lives, or even Instagram. Welcome, 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 dear souls. Please take a minute to write the name and the city and the country you're joining us from in the chat. We would love to know where you're joining us from. And whether you are a brand new to our Soulful Leader community or a long time Soulful member, I welcome you with my heart. And in Arabic, we welcome you to my family. In Arabic, we say ahlan wa sahlan. Thank you for your presence. It is truly a gift to us. So the Soulful Leader Virtual Gatherings were created the first week of April of 2020 during these uncertain times to bring together a community of soulful leaders who are creating change in our world. We came together so we could share our voices, be heard, share our stories and our lives' transformations, being as conscious leaders who are living on the spiritual path. Whether or not you are, or not, that unprecedented time makes sense to your logical mind right now, I invite you to surrender to what is and to know that right now, at this moment, you are safe and loved. You are safe and loved in this sacred space that we're holding for you. Because I want you to enjoy the soulful space and the loving connections for at least the next hour and a half or so. So can you do that for me? If so, can you nod your head? Perfect. Thank you so much. So this place where we are right now, God circled on a map for you, whether your eyes and arms and heart can move against the earth and the sky, the beloved has bowed there. Our beloved has bowed there knowing that you were coming. Each and every one of you, there are no accidents that you're here. You were called to join this gathering because we're all beautiful souls coming together and connecting our energies. Because the idea of the soulful family is about how total strangers from across the world with different backgrounds, ethnicities, cultures, faith, and beliefs can unite in community as soulful leaders, where we all belong here, right here, at this moment. Wherever you are, you belong. So today, our topic is the science of channeling, how to trust your intuition and embrace the force that connects us all, with our amazing and special guest scientist and author of the book, The Science of Channeling, which I know many of you have met on Clubhouse. In addition, many of you have bought her book on Amazon, and I'm so excited. Our wonderful, wonderful guest, Helané Wahbeh. By the way, she just happened to be my cousin as well, and she'll share that story with you in just a little bit. In the meantime, our conversation, you're going to be learning how to identify and target your own channeling skills, processes, channeled information that you'll be receiving, and how to use your unique gift to improve your life and the world around you. Yes, the world around you. So I love this quote. Channeling is a powerful means of spiritual unfoldment and conscious transformation. As you channel, you build a bridge to the higher realm, a loving, caring, purposeful, collective higher consciousness that has been called God, the all that is, and the universal mind, by Sanaya Rahman. Beautiful, beautiful quote. And that really encapsulates everything that we're going to be talking about today, and how, and the what, and the why. So before I introduce Helané, few housekeeping, please make sure to mute your video if you happen to unmute it because you wanted to make a comment or ask a question, because we want to honor the space and make sure that everybody's heard and all is well. We'd love to see your beautiful faces as more and more of you are coming here to these beautiful virtual gatherings. So if we could see your beautiful face, we would love that. If not, we understand. Everyone's welcome here. And we'd love for you to chat and participate when you're asked to. Please make sure if you have a question for Helané, she'll be more than happy to answer it for you. And of course, we always start with a grounding of our container. So before we begin, this morning, let's just all together collectively take a deep breath in from your nose and release. Just asking for guidance and support from our higher selves, from archangels, ascended master, only light being to be here with us today. And so it is, and so it is. And I also invite you to envision a golden light over your crown chakra as you surround your whole entire physical body with the light of protection. And only light beings are welcome here. For all of you who are healers, teachers, please hold space for each and every one of us. May each and every single one of you who is here be blessed today. Please be open and receiving all that is needed to be received for your highest good, for highest will, and your highest purpose. And so it is, and so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sahar. And I have been leading community for the past 15 years. But what really matters to me, that I have been blessed to be able to support humanity for the past 15 years plus. And how do I support humanity? By creating virtual gatherings. I'm a community. I lead by leadership. I lead my life as a leader. I love gathering people, bringing people together in any format, especially those who are on the conscious path. And I also like to bring other brilliant people, just like our special guest, Helané, today. I love not only just connecting, but also supporting people in transforming their life through my gift of channeling, through my gift of mentorship. I am blessed to have so many amazing clients that I'm working with. And the way I deliver this, either whether private coaching, I also deliver it through group coaching. I also love to give by offering classes and rooms on Clubhouse. And of course, these virtual gatherings. Why? Because the more of us that are on the path of consciousness and growth, the more of us are able to heal humanity. I am here to translate judgment into love and to support as many leaders clear the inside so the outside would flow with ease and grace. And this is the role that I'm playing right now. And I know each and every one of you have a role. And the reason I bring this beautiful guest, not only because she's my cousin, she's amazing and wonderful and smart, but I also bring her because the topic is so relevant right now. The more of us are learning how to open our channels to channel, open our crown chakra in order for us to channel, channel spirit guides. Helané will be talking more about it. But the more we're able to go inwards, the more our energy vibrate at a frequency in which we can just by being, be able to transform people's lives. And I know many of you know what I'm talking about. Now we are being, not doing anymore. We're learning how to be and to surrender, that is. This morning, I took a beautiful, beautiful walk. I am so grateful that I live near water, and I was walking and I did a beautiful meditation. I was in stillness and just reconnecting to the essence of who I am. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to support you do the same by bringing these amazing, incredible guests to our platform right now. So we will be doing some shared wisdoms. We will be also doing Q&A. We'll be hearing all about what you want to share If we have time afterwards, I might invite you to hang out a little bit later, because I would love to just have a community gathering where we get to share our hearts. For those of you who are called and you have time, maybe from 11:30 to 12, I'll be around if you have any questions, anything that you need to ask me, or we just get to know each other and get to know our hearts. I would love to stay afterwards and connect to you this way. So are you ready? If you are, just wave your hand, say, I'm ready, Sahar. I'm ready for this amazing topic. Because I know Helané is just waiting and she's ready to share her brilliance with you as well. So I invited Helané again to join us, our guest expert today, and who just published her second book, The Science of Channeling, How to Trust Your Intuition and Embrace the Force that Connects Us All. And let me tell you a little bit about her before I introduce her to you. Helané Wahbeh is a director of the research of the Institute of Noetic Sciences, it's IONS, by the way, and adjunct assistant professor in the Department of Neurology at Oregon Health and Science University, and president of the Parapsychological Association. Dr. Wahbeh is a clinical trainer, she's clinically trained as a naturopathic scientist and physician, and research trained with a Master of Clinical Research at she has 2 postdoctoral research fellowships. She has published and spoken internationally about her studies on complementary and alternative medicine, mind-body medicine, extended human capacity stress, post-traumatic stress disorder, and their relationship to psychology, health, and healing. Dr. Wahbeh is especially known in her research around the noetic approach to channeling. She authored 2 books, the one co-authored with her wonderful mom and my dear cousin, Maha Kuri. And of course, it's called Free to Be Me. Please make sure to check that out as well. And the one we're going to be learning more about is The Science of Channeling, why you should trust your intuition and embrace the force that connects us all. With that being said, I want to welcome to the stage beautiful Helané. Hi.
Hello. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. It's so great to be here with all of you in this beautiful community.
Thank you and welcome, sweetheart. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so excited to welcome you here. And you know, one of the most important questions is, how did you learn about channeling? Please give us the history behind it.
This is a wonderful and great story. I actually was quite sensitive as a child, and you know, I could feel into people's emotions, into environments. If I went into a dark room, I felt like I could feel spirits or things around me. And as I grew old, I never really shared it with my parents or anything. It was just something that I experienced and dealt with. But as I got older, I became aware that my mom's whole side of the family experienced these esoteric channeling experiences. And my mom actually took me to my grandparents' house when I was about 10 years old, where they had a gathering. And at this gathering, people were sitting in a circle, and my uncle was trance channeling. And I'll just take a moment to explain what that is. So trance channeling, the channeler believes that they are acting as a vehicle for a non-physical entity to actually speak through them. So I call that trance channeling. Some people call that mediumship, and there's some people even call it possession if it's not consensual. So this experience of the channeler channeling a direct, non-physical being. So that introduction kind of blew me away and brought up so many different questions in my mind. And I was able to have conversations as I grew older with my mom, with my family, and every single member of my mother's side of the family, including Sahar, who's here, has some type of channeling ability. And I'll also take this moment to just explain what I mean by channeling, because trance channeling is just one aspect of channeling. So I use this broad umbrella definition for channeling, and it's basically the process of accessing information and energy that's not limited by our conventional notions of time and space, and that it can appear receptive or expressive. And so what I call channeling shows up along this huge spectrum of experiences, from intuition, gut hunches, all the way to mediumship and trance channeling, which are a little bit more rare for people. But in between, we have, prophetic dreams or premonitions or precognition or clairvoyance, clairaudience, etc. There's a huge slew of words that attempt to describe these often ineffable experiences where we are accessing beyond our traditional five senses to access information and energy. So that's what I call channeling. That's what I experienced my whole life growing up in various ways. But it was very secluded in my personal family life. And I didn't really speak about it to people outside of my family. And it was kind of a hidden thing for me that I really valued, but felt like, okay, my family's just a little bit different, and I'm not going to talk about it with other people.
Yeah, just a little different. So speaking of family, I know that not just, there's your Teta, who is my first cousin. So let me tell you how we're related. Maha, who's here in the audience, you want to wave, Maha? She's my first cousin. So her mom and my mom are actually sisters. That's how close I am. And Helané is Maha's daughter. So I think it's like, what is it called? Cousin second removed or whatever, but you're my cousin anyway. So I was 16 years old when I went to these seances. My mom took me because all the other cousins, like we have over 100 cousins, they were like going, this stuff is like, evil, right? Because we come from a Christian background. That's what our family is, Greek Orthodox, right? And so my mom was always open-minded, and she loved this energy because she was a channel herself. She actually wrote 4 books through her channeling. And so she would take me and I would sit in this seance. And I tell you, I was so scared the first time that when your father, God bless his soul, Uncle Ken, said, okay, we're going to call in the spirits or whatever. In my mind, I kept saying, don't come, don't come, don't come, don't come. And I remember he opened his eyes and looked straight at me and he goes, there's someone here who's blocking them from coming. If you are not comfortable, please leave. And I was shaking in my boots, I swear to you. And then there was an opportunity where we had to take a break because they wouldn't come. And I said, I have to go because I have some homework. And I left, and they told me that spirit actually showed up right afterwards because I was literally blocking it. And so I don't know if that is true to be true, but that's what I felt like because I wasn't ready and I wasn't open. But later I continued to go and I continued to explore and I continued to love everything that the whole family was doing. But I wanted to share my story. And so I know to be true as well, that out of the 6 children that my auntie had, right? All 6 children are gifted. Is that correct? And their children are gifted and their children's children are gifted. Can you tell me a little bit about that dynamic? Would love to know.
Yes, that's true. All members of our family have some sort of channeling ability. And, my experience in the research that I'm doing, I'm proposing that every human actually has the innate capacity to be able to channel in some way, but that the way that it shows up for us is unique. It's like our fingerprint. And we call this our noetic signature, the noetic, which means inner wisdom, inner knowing, coming from the Greek nosos. And signature, meaning that it's your unique signature and what it looks like for you. So, for example, myself, I am very embodied in my channeling. I get goosebumps. I feel it very physically. I also really resonate with emotional aspects. I can feel others' emotions, even if I don't know them. I can walk into a room and I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Something's happening. And then I also sometimes get downloads where I just get information fully formed that I didn't know about complete strangers. So that's a little bit about my signature, right? But if I spoke to someone else about it, they say, I don't get that at all. I see auras. I hear, who I believe to be my guides actually telling me things like, don't go down that road. There's an accident, things like that. And so I think that this process of exploring our unique channeling ability is just so precious and priceless and amazing right now. And that really was my goal in doing the work that I do and writing this book. So I shared that, I had this all in my personal background. Then I went to naturopathic medical school to become a clinician. I was really focused on mind-body medicine and complementary and alternative therapies. I went back and got into clinical research, got clinical research training, and worked on meditation studies, like with combat veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder. But the channeling piece was very set with my personal life, and I didn't really bring it into my academic or career in a very outward way. And so it was like I was living two separate lives. Like I might use it internally or use it in my decision making to support me, but I never talked about it at lab meetings. I used it with patients. I would, get all this information about them and say, hey, is this going on with you? And they'd say, yeah. And, they'd often have some emotions or whatever come up about it. So it was only when I was invited to go to the Institute of Noetic Sciences as a meditation researcher to talk about the future of meditation and what wasn't being covered in our Western research. And I saw this place and I was completely blown away that they were asking the research questions they were asking, all these courageous questions that people weren't really willing to ask in normal, academia. Like, what is this place? I really want to work here. How can I be working here? So I did eventually become a contractor and then an employee. And then now I'm the director of research there and have been with IONS for about 6 years now. So for the first time, I can merge my personal experience of channeling with my academic research clinical background. And so building on the work that IONS already did and many others have done around the world, I kind of formalized this channeling research program that's asking important questions about channeling and how it works. So now I'm out of the closet. I can be here with you talking about research and channeling. I can do, talks virtually all around the world to thousands of people talking about this topic, and that there is this robust science backing it up and to support people to be able to nurture it within themselves.
I love that. So you did talk about the different kinds. Thank you for sharing your story in depth. I really appreciate you and your knowledge. And you are definitely a researcher who is discovering and merging this too. And I believe, as you're speaking, what I just got from my spirit guides, that you have been prepared for this moment.
It's true.
Helané, you have been prepared. We have all been prepared for this moment. I remember when I brought you last July sharing of this topic, you specifically said, in September of 2021, I will be launching my book. You literally said that. And then the pandemic happened. And what I want to say right now, how much I appreciate you and how much I acknowledge you for sticking to that, because it could have been easily, you could have said, you know what, it's the pandemic, I'm not going to bring that kind of work, but you stuck to it. You continued to do the research and you launched it exactly when you're supposed to. And what did I say to you? When you do launch your book, and I will bring you back. And here we are.
Yes.
We didn't allow the outside to stop us from continuing on that path that we have chose, on the path that we have chose.
Absolutely.
And so I just want to Yeah. And this is what it's all about. If you connect on a deeper level and know that what your calling is, right? Nothing on the outside is going to shake you up. We stayed on that path to continue to heal humanity. And this book is going to, it's just gonna be an amazing. I invite each and every one of you to please to go on Amazon, not only just buy it and read it, and do also make sure to write, a little bit about what your idea of the book was, or review for Helané, because we want to make sure this book is a staple in every household. We want to make sure this book that's on the counter and on the shelves of every household. I was honored to read it. Now I'm reading it. I continue to read it. And I want to buy a bunch of copies because I want to actually give it away to some of my clients. It's just so fascinating. I continue to dive deeper and deeper. And I'm having breakthroughs too, by the way. So I just wanted to take a pause to get you all involved. You heard Helané say that there are different forms of channeling. And if you don't mind just naming few, and what I'd love the audience to do right now is in the chat, write down which one do you feel you relate to the most. So give me about 5 or 6 ways, Helané, and let's see what the audience's way of channeling is, for those of you who channel anyway.
Sure. So one way is mental, like receiving information mentally. Another is in the body, like feeling sensations in the body when you have an experience. Another is knowing the future, so getting hits about what's going to happen in the future. Another is seeing things, but not with your physical eyes, but it's sort of like a psychic sight, if you will, seeing colors or being able to see things at a distance. Another is hearing things, hearing voices or messages, or when a message comes in, it's auditory. You actually can hear it. I'll stop there for now. So those are some of the more common ones.
Beautiful. So let's find out. We have clairsentience. We have having dreams of something in the future. Thank you.
Dreams is another
clairvoyancy. Beautiful. Mental dreams. Body sensations, extreme deja vus. Oh yeah, third eye visions, absolutely. Hearing also, clairaudience is hearing. Great to be here. Oh, thank you. Receiving mental messages, seeing and knowing. Yes, it's that knowing, that feeling, that intuition. Mental body, some future, clairvoyance audio. Beautiful. I receive mental of what should I do? What should I hear? Clairsentience, mental, clairvoyancies, voices, sometimes strong messages. Beautiful. Hearing, mental body dreams, mental hearing. I think we're in the right, that we have the right audience, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think everyone in this community is really lucky to have each other, because not everyone has a community. And that was one of my main motivators to really write the book, is because I developed the research program and then I started talking about the studies we were doing and the results. And after every single one, I would have people coming up to me when it was in person or emailing me when it was virtual saying, I had this experience. Thank you so much for talking about it. I haven't told anybody about it. I can't talk to them about it. They're going to think I'm crazy. And just all this intense fear about their actual channeling experiences. And so my goal in the book was that people could, hold the book up and say, look, I'm actually not alone, and I'm probably not crazy. And there's all this science, this has been done about it. And feel like that was a support for them to come out of the channeling closet, if you will, so that they could, like myself, be more open, more vocal, and have conversations about the experiences they were having. And knowing that, like, the likelihood that the person they're talking to actually had a similar experience was incredibly high.
I love that. I don't know if you have access to it. If you can maybe, or just go to Amazon and just type down. If you could maybe leave it in the chat. If you could go, because I really want more people to buy the book, because it's
Here's
so
the
important
book.
again to have it. Okay, here it is. Yay, she brought it. That's how it
Yeah,
looks
so
like.
people could say, hey, look at this book. It's actually real. These are real phenomenon that have been studied in so many different ways.
I love it. I
And
love
I'd
it.
love to share more about the details of that if we have
Yeah,
time.
that's going to be our next question for you, why you wrote the book. But I just wanted to tune in here and look at all these beautiful people that continue to join us. Thank you all. I see you all. Natalia is here. I see Larry is here. I see Samantha is here. I see Christina is here. Elle is here. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. Marcia, oh my gosh, here you are. Abdo is here, all the way from Egypt. Abdo, thank you. Thank you for coming. He said, I don't know if I can make it, but he's here. Would love to see your handsome face. And I want to see Rita is here. Oh my goodness gracious. You continue to join us. Thank you. Thank you for this. For those of you who have just joined us, I am with this amazing researcher and author of The Science of Channeling, Helané Wahbeh, and also my cousin. Don't forget that she's my cousin as well. And so I want to bring more of that. So let's move to the next questions about the book. I know that you wrote it and you were committed. So why did you write The Science of Channeling?
So really it is what I just shared, so that people could have a very accessible one-stop shop place to show others, and of course themselves, to know that knowledge themselves, but to be able to have the ammunition, if you will, to feel comfortable to share about these experiences and to know that they weren't alone. So, I think one of the first chapters talks about how common channeling actually is. So we did a really amazing study where we asked almost 900 people about their channeling experiences. There were 3 groups. One was scientists and engineers. The next was people from the general population in the United States. And the third were what we called enthusiasts, which was basically the IONS membership. And we asked them about 27 different channeling experiences and said, hey, have you had any of these? And our idea was that the scientists and engineers would have way less, because there are so many taboos in academia that we thought maybe there's so many taboos because they just aren't having these experiences. When the results came in, we were completely blown away. It was over 90% of those almost 900 people across all the groups that had at least one of these channeling experiences. And I looked at the results. I said, okay, something's got to be wrong here. Like, what's happening? So we read through the 27 items again. And, there was an item on clear empathy, which is what I experience of, feeling other people's emotions. And I said, well, maybe they misunderstood this as regular empathy. So we took that item out. There was another item about, clear sentience, just knowing things were true. So we took out like 4 or 5 items that we thought maybe they just misunderstood it. It was still above 80% of those people had marked at least one. So that's just one study that we've done. There have been, probably about maybe 80 studies done around the world now about how common these experiences are. Japan, Iceland, Europe, England, all over the place. And the percentages range from the lowest is about 10% of the people polled, and the highest, it was our study, about that 90%. But then there's everything in between. But if you average all that out, it's about 50 to 60% of people have these experiences. There's also been global studies asking about 3 common ones: experiencing contact with the dead, mental telepathy, and clairvoyance. And those are about like 60 or 70% around the entire globe. So, when people talk about the taboos and fear of talking about it, they say, oh, it's just so rare. This is a very rare experience. That's why, it's not talked about. That's completely, utterly false. And there's so much evidence now contrary to that. These experiences are common. They are very, very, very common.
Beautiful. I love that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because we grew up in that environment. To us, it's not really weird or strange. And right away in 2009, when I made a decision to leave my marriage, I really dived right into this field. I started by getting my certification in life coaching, and I start really doing the work. I mean, I went from real estate into this right away, right? And then what I realized is like, okay, all the people that I know, all the people that I'm coaching, all the people that come to my community. So I've been in my bubble. So when you're talking about how a lot of people still think it's strange, I know probably some of you, if not all of you here, know what I'm talking about, and some of you may not. But it's like, what do you mean it's strange? But we all actually, if you surround yourself with people that channel, people that are conscious, that is such a blessing. And as Helané said earlier, that it is so important for you to be in that space of people that are like-minded. And for those of you who don't feel comfortable yet to come out of the closet, we just want to tell you there is a community, the Soulful Leader community, that you can, because we will love you, will honor you, no judgment. And of course, many of us grew up with possibly a different religion, right? Background that you have to follow and you have to obey in these specific religions, so many religions in the world. And then all of a sudden you're getting all these, feelings and sensations, and you're reading and you're seeing the future and you're wondering what the heck is happening to me. I mean, that's the whole purpose of her writing the book. So I just want to say how much I appreciate you being here, and let's go move forward. So what are the benefits of getting in touch with our unique noetic signature? What do you think it would be for everyone?
Well, first, I think it can reduce fear and anxiety in a person, because if they're having these experiences, but they're in the closet about it, that creates a dissonance within yourself. If you haven't had any channeling experiences, but you want to and you're curious about it, I think one of the most commonly stated uses of channeling in all of our studies is to support people in making decisions. So how many of you have struggled with a decision and you weigh the pros and cons and you're trying to figure out what way to go? You can use channeling to go within and use your intuition to be able to get more information about what would be the better choice for you. So instead of banging our heads against the wall, trying to discover how to live our lives, it becomes so much more easeful. And I've seen this in my own life. I've seen it over and over again in people who learn to use these tools, is their life just becomes easeful and relaxed, and their quality of life improves, their health improves, because there's greater alignment with the person's inner wisdom and how they're behaving and how they're choosing to act in the world.
I read before I start reading the chapters, there's something about correlation between channeling and mental health. I was really, really interested in learning more, because I know there's a lot of advocacy right now happening. A lot of people are talking about mental health. And you mentioned that if you channel, that people that channel don't have mental health. Is that true?
Generally, yes. So the way it works is, traditionally in these taboo cultures, if you will, if you say, hey, I had a dream about the future and it came true, the judgment criticism would be, oh, you're cuckoo. You have some sort of mental health pathology. And that the reason that's so is because that the idea that you could gain information about the future in your dream doesn't fit our materialistic scientific worldview. So right now, the dominant paradigm in the West is that the only thing that matters is this physical body. Only the physical actually exists. And most of channeling phenomenon are beyond the physical. They're post-materialist. It supports this notion that our consciousness actually goes beyond the physical. And so that doesn't fit with our materialistic paradigm that's dominant right now. And so if you show them something that is supposedly impossible with the way they think the world works, then you have some sort of mental illness. So the reality is there's more and more evidence that our consciousness goes beyond our physical body. It's non-local, quantum physics, cosmology. There's all these different scientific domains that are showing us that it's not just the physical, there's more than that. So when that's in place, it gives more room for these experiences to actually be possible. So when we look at the studies of mental health and channeling, overwhelmingly the results are that most people who have channeling experiences do not have mental symptoms that would worry a therapist. They have slightly more than someone who doesn't have channeling experiences, but that level doesn't reach a threshold where it passes the clinical cutoffs. So in general, people who have channeling experiences, whether they're trance channelers or mediums or have general psychic type abilities, they do not have more mental health symptoms. And beyond that, most people say that their channeling experiences have a positive impact on their life. It improves their quality of life. They're highly functioning, productive members of their society, and they don't have a mental illness. They're not crazy. There's not a pathology. One last piece about this, because I think it's important to be aware of, is that rarely some people do have mental health concerns that show up like channeling. And this is if the experiences are very intense, very frequent, it blocks their daily functioning, there's negative emotions, negative experiences with it. And so I don't want to gloss over that because these people might need help. And so if you or someone you know is very stressed out from the experiences and they're super intense for them, then the invitation is to support them to seek out help, so that they, if it is truly just channeling, get some guidance to help tone it down and reduce the intensity of them, or they actually may need support because they do have a mental illness. So I just want to highlight that and to say that it is rare. The general situation is that channeling is a healthy, normal, common phenomenon that people experience.
Thank you so much. I do join a lot of rooms in Clubhouse that speak of that topic. And so when I read that, I invited few people who are advocating. And one of them is Abdo. He's with us today. Thank you for being here, Abdo. And he speaks a lot about mental health. And I thought this would be something really phenomenal for him to know. And I was just, again, I had this just idea of, imagine if doctors can understand that. Doctors in the mental health, psychologists and psychotherapists could understand that these patients of theirs may not have any mental issues, but yet they're seeing things, they're hearing things, they're feeling things, but yet nobody's understanding them. So this book is going to be so important, and I'm hoping all doctors are helping to heal, the mental, health industry could understand that maybe, just maybe, their patients who were never educated in this, about the science of channeling or understanding the channeling and connecting to spirit guides. I hope that they learn and become aware of it so they could identify whether their patient really has mental health issues or they're just experiencing some sort of way of connecting to spirit guides. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was so excited. Myself and a collaborator, we just got a paper published on this exact topic in a mainstream journal, which blew me away, and it got accepted and published so quickly. There's also more mainstream people who are interested in this. Yale has a project called, I think it's called Hearing Voices, and their goal is to really explore clairaudience and how to distinguish that from psychotic symptoms. Anyway, so I think that the attention on this is growing and highlighting the nuances of these experiences for people.
Beautiful. So you talk a lot about consciousness in the book and what the science of consciousness and why is it so important?
It really hinges on this materialistic, post materialistic paradigm shift. We're essentially straddling those two paradigms. So, in the materialistic paradigm, you talk to a neuroscientist and they say, oh, consciousness is a product of our brain. It's just our neurons firing in this specific way, and that's what creates our consciousness. So I would call that little c consciousness. Whether I'm here, I'm awake, I'm conscious, I'm talking to you. What the work we do at IONS is more about big C consciousness. That's more related to the post-materialistic paradigm and this concept that our consciousness extends beyond our body. It's not a product of our mind. And some physicists, philosophers, etc., even propose that consciousness is the fundamental aspect of reality, that it's actually the grounded floor of our universe and beyond. And so this big C consciousness, I think, is the realm of where channeling lies, because if you imagine that we are all interconnected, that our big C consciousness encompasses and is everything, then the idea that I can telepathically connect to, my cousin in New York, it doesn't seem so far-fetched because there's some mechanism that could hold that. So yeah, I think it's this whole term non-local consciousness. I think you are going to be hearing a lot more of that.
I love that. So, we did talk a little bit about the common abilities, but how about where does channel information come from? I know for me, I get it directly from spirit guides. I have a collective, I guess, of spirit guides, and it comes directly. I also channel the Divine Mother Mary. And for those of you who would like to stay after, perhaps we could give you some sampling. I might invite even my cousin Maha to stay afterwards and give us some examples of channeling, channeling. Would love for you to stay around. But where does channeling come from? Where does channeled information come from? Maybe you could just share that. And for those of you who relate, please do participate in the comments. Let us know your thoughts, your feelings. If you have any questions, by the way, we'll be opening to questioning just a little bit. So go ahead, Helena.
So that people are always curious about what's the source? Where's this coming from? And the short answer is we're not quite sure, and we can't really prove a lot of it definitively. My sense is that it probably varies depending on the type of channeling that you do. And for example, if we have this non-local consciousness, if we're all interconnected from the Big Bang, we are all connected, we're all entangled in some ways, quantum physics talks about us, then why couldn't I access information about someone else when I see them through that field? So there's this theory that this interconnected field allows us to access this information. There's also, when you talk about mediumship and connecting with supposedly deceased people, deceased Uncle Joe or Aunt Sue, etc., there's a big debate about that. Is it actually the personality of the deceased person that has survived that you're connecting with? Or are you tapping into this field and just gaining information from them? Or perhaps you're telepathically picking it up from the person who wants to know about Uncle Joe or Aunt Sue. And so it's very challenging with our scientific methods to be able to to definitively show one or the other of those. And I talk a lot about the different sources that people who channel think it is. Many people think it's a higher self or a collective consciousness. Trance channelers, like you mentioned, spirit guides, group beings, off-world allies. You know, one trance channeling study we did, there were 21 different supposed entities that came through and were communicating, many of whom were who said they were from different star systems. So there's such a huge variety of beliefs about what's coming through. My kind of personal take home, and what I invite people to do, is to invite people to kind of let go of needing to prove what the source is and to focus more on the content coming through, and if you are aligned with it, if you feel like it can support you. And that's not to say we aren't curious about the source, and we'd love to know, but with the tools that we have today, we can't really definitively prove many of those sources. And I would argue that if we are all one, if we are all connected, it's still part of me, even if it's, you know, the energy of Mary or who knows, it's still an aspect of myself because we're all interconnected. So I don't want to diminish the curiosity about the source, but I feel there's many people I talk to who get so like fired up and, you know, upset almost about needing to prove what the source is. And we don't have the tools to be able to do that definitively right now. So I invite people to put their energy more into the content, and if they feel like it's actually going to help them in some way.
You know, I get asked always like, who do you channel and what are their names? Or
Right.
they talk to me and say, can you tell me the name of my higher guides? And I go, what difference does it make, really? It's a collective of energy that comes through me. And I did sit and meditate one time for an hour, just say, give me the names. Who are you? And I didn't get anything. And I said, okay, it's just a collective. Whatever it's channeled through me is pure, whole, and complete. That's all I know. And it's light energy because I could feel it, and it's safe. That's the only thing I really, really want to focus my attention. I love what you said, focusing our attention on the content and the delivery of the information rather than focusing on who and what and why. I do feel the energy of Mother Mary because she's been with me since I was a little girl. So I know that her energy, when it comes through and I do the clearing or healing, I feel a totally different way when the other collective come through me. That's how I know it is her. And she's been with me since I was a little girl. So that's why I do feel the different of the way that when she comes through me, it's totally different. So go ahead.
Yeah, and subjectively, channelers talk about that all the time. So my vision is to be able to develop the objective measures to evaluate that. So let's say we are sitting in a room and you channeled Mother Mary, and we had this device that could pick up that frequency, and then you switch and channel something else. Could that device actually pick up the differences? So that's kind of where we're headed in terms of the science around it all.
I love that. I love that. This is like so cool. For those of you who have any questions, I continue to ask her questions. But if you do have a question, please go ahead and write it in the chat because we want your participation. In just a little bit, perhaps you could personally ask it. Okay. I know somebody already wrote in the chat, but we're doing that. So I just want to ask a little bit about the noetic experience. You keep bringing that word up. You know, you mentioned it a few times. What is the noetic experiences, and how can you give some examples? We'd love to hear that.
Yeah, so I think you mean the noetic signature, which I talked about. So, you know, one way that we are thinking about this is this signature, that everybody has their own unique way of channeling. So we've done a number of studies now where we have worked to develop what's called the noetic signature inventory. And it's basically 44 items that people answer, and then they get a report that maps onto 12 different characteristics of channeling. And each of those 12 characteristics, you would get a score from 0 to 100. And essentially, people get a snapshot of in that moment where their signature lies, where their strongest aspects, and I don't want to say weakest because it's not weakest, but like what is the imprint of your signature? Does it show up in your body? Does it show up in your mind? Is there a specific type of information? And then people do this in inventory, and then we also have curriculum that we're building for each one of those characteristics. So let's say, you want to learn how to get information from your dreams. So we have a series of courses that we've been teaching on lucid dreaming, or tap into mediumship. We might partner with someone who teaches mediumship. Another common one is clairvoyance, or some people nowadays call it remote viewing. There are structured programs to actually learn how to remote view, or how to use your mind to affect physical things. There's classes to learn how to do that. Psychokinesis, it's called. And so once you go into self-inquiry about what your noetic signature is, then you can choose how you want to nurture it, how you want to use it, and use those tools to be able to help you in your life. It's fascinating because another common question that I get is, well, who can do this? Can anyone do this? And I do believe that everyone has the innate capacity, and that, when I talk to teachers, they say anyone can learn this. Mm-hmm. And so if you believe that you can, then you usually can. You may not be excellent at it. So like, let's say 10 people learn, they'll have variation in how quickly they learn or how skilled they are at it, but that they can learn the various different types if they choose to.
Yeah. And as you're learning, be gentle with yourself. So I'm going to go and get questions from the audience right now. Let's see here, go to gallery. All right. So who has a question? I know many of you are asking in the back channel. I know Moon, are you here? If you go ahead, let's go ahead and unmute Moon.
Yeah, I am here. Let me turn on my video. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Go ahead and ask your question.
I was dying for this. Helané, thank you so much. I love this webinar. Thank you, Zahar. I had seen your webinar on Chi about your research, and it was just by synchronicity I had met Zahar. And I was like, oh my God. So Helané, I have a question for you. I work with a business coach, and he's been doing energy work for like 30 years, this guy. He got his Reiki, shamanism, like in the early 90s.
Get to the question, Moon.
Okay, so the question is this, is that what he was saying to me when he was doing he's a human design expert of all experts. What he was saying to me when he was doing my human design to make decisions is that he said, I always thought that getting information from spirit was the way to go in terms of making my decisions. And he was like, no, even if spirit gives you information, it may not necessarily be the right decision for you. And you want to rely more on your inner authorities. And, human design is all about how energy.
And what is your question, Moon?
So the question is, he says, because spirit may not necessarily know the best decision for you. How do you feel about it? So when you download information from spirit, does it feel like, okay, this is the right decision? I mean, does it? Good question. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, because it's contrary to what my human design coach is saying.
Okay.
Great question. This is really important. And I have a whole section in the book dedicated to this. And I call it discernment. How do we discern the information that we're receiving? So some people who channel just take everything that they receive at face value and as truth. And I would invite people to be more discerning about that. So there's an exercise in the book about how to tune in. So let's say you get this big download and you've written it down, and then you go through it and you do your own discerning process about, is this information relevant to me? Is it important for me to know? Is there something about it that is actionable in my life? And I invite people to do that about everything. Just because it's channeled doesn't mean that it's true, and it also doesn't mean that it's relevant for you. So I think that is so exceptionally important to realize. And that doesn't, and everything I'm saying is not meant to discount channeled information. It just means it's not the be all end all of everything. We still need to use our discernment to see how we want to use it, if at all.
I love that, because it is a great question. And I have often asked myself, and so what I do is I have a dowser and I actually douse. So I ask spirit guides and then I douse to double check. So there are different ways that you could do it. Also, somebody asked about children.
Before we jump to that, I want to say one other thing. So what I've seen over and over again is that, we can be an incredibly clear, amazing channel, and yet it's still often coming through the filter of the mind. And
100%.
that I've seen that over and over again. So it's coming through the filter of the mind, and it's being received through the filter of the mind. So this channeling might come through and give you all this content, and with your personality, you perceive it as, oh, I need to go buy the red car, right? And then you check in with your guides later. They're like, no, that's totally not what we meant. And so it is important to be discerning.
What's wrong with a red car, Helané?
Yeah, I don't know. I just made up some random example, but I just wanted to, I think that point's important because we're still seeing it with the mind. I don't know how many messages we've gotten. You're like, well, why didn't that happen? And it's like, well, that's totally not what we meant. That's just how you heard it,
Yes. And the perception of time as well. Often I receive a message and I say, it is not my time. My spirit guides always say, like when I do readings, like 6 months to a year, that's what's going to happen, because there's some alignment that needs to be done, right? People need to work on themselves in order for whatever it is that they desire to happen. So that's a really great question. There was somebody here that asked about children. Which one are you? And if you raise your hand or just unmute yourself, and we'll go ahead and take the question about children. Who was asking the question about children? Oh, here you are. Okay. Hi, Mary. How are you, sweetheart? Go ahead and ask your question.
Nice to meet you. Yes, I am actually homeschooling my children. I started after the pandemic started, and I decided that developing that intuitive side of them was very important in these current times. So we are doing a lot of things that I'm just pulling, but I'm new to this field. They do a lot of nature observation, meditation. We do exercises with Russell Targ.
What is your question, sweetheart?
So basically my question is there any program or any resource that you would recommend to structure a little bit more that opening of the intuitive side in children? Thank you.
I love that question, and it's a beautiful question. And I don't know of any specific programs besides meditation programs for kids. There's a lot of mindfulness, meditation. I don't know of any teachers who specifically teach children. I do know of a researcher in Brazil who's very interested in studying kids' experiences with like invisible friends and stuff like that. The trick with research in kids is it's ethically very challenging to do research with children. And I believe the work that you're doing with nurturing them and supporting them and allowing it to be okay is like the most beautiful, wonderful thing you can do. And you'll see the dedication of my book was to my 2 children, because they are just such these incredible bright lights. And I'm so grateful that I've been able to hold that space for them to blossoming. I mean, just the other day, Mateen, we went somewhere and he said, Mama, that energy there just was not good, you know. And,
And
and
how
he
old
does,
is the teen?
he's almost 9 and he's
Yes.
just such a precious little joy. And, you know, he'll do his energy clearings and his protective bubbles. And, you know, I watch how he moves through the world. Like he's drawn to people who support and align with him and not, anyway.
I believe 100% that our kids, they have been waking up conscious. I mean, they've been born conscious now. They're when they're born, they're conscious now. I am so blessed. I have 2 beautiful girls, 27 and 30. And I know my little one is psychic for sure. Ever since she was a little girl, she would say, Mom, I just thought of my friend doing something. And all of a sudden he called me and he said that he's doing that. And she really feared it, you know, but now she's practicing it more. She's using it in her life. My 30-year-old is the same thing, very in tune. She's more into the health and wellness of humanity and so in tune. I mean, they grew up with me. And of course, your son grew up with you, Helané. So of course, they're going to be in that realm. But I so applaud every single parent, regardless of where you're at. Have the conversation with your children. Ask them questions. Talk about them, their 6 senses, their 7 senses. Talk to them about the third eye. Educate them about their chakras and what it means. See how open, receptive they are. And I guarantee you, especially kids right now, this is the way of our future. And that's why we bring you this topic with Helané, because she is, opening the doors to this phenomenal channeling that before we can even talk about. So I appreciate you for being here and asking. So we could take one more question or maybe 2. Please go ahead, either write it in the comments or raise your hand. Okay, it says here, Andre says Superhuman, the Invisible Made Visible. Excellent documentary on PS children. Thank you so much, Andrea. So he recommends Superhuman, the Invisible Made Visible. It's an excellent documentary and he actually gave us the link. Thank you. I don't know a lot of meditation classes of children. Okay, perfect. So everybody's responding to the children because everybody's curious. Anybody else has a question? Andrea, do you have a question? Please go ahead and unmute. I know you had one. Hi, Andrea. How are you? Do you have a question for Helané? Yes. Hi. Welcome.
No, not a question at this time, but I've done guided meditations with children.
Okay.
And specifically about extending their senses, opening their third eye.
Mhm.
And a lot of them, of course, they're kids, so they've got like the silly thing, what's the kid next to me doing and all of this, and they get restless and all of this. Once they get past it and really get into it, pretty close to 100%. I can think of 1, maybe 2 exceptions, but pretty much 100% reported seeing that objects start to glow, that they see a glowing outline around people, like auras, essentially.
I love
like
that.
their first time after, and not even very long meditations because it's children.
Yeah.
But like approaching 10 minutes, almost all of them said the room started to glow, things like this. Yeah,
I love that.
pretty
Thank
close
you
to
so much.
100%.
Thank you for sharing that. That's such an important topic. Maybe, next time we bring you, we do nothing but talk about that, Helané. I love to continue this conversation on depth. I see somebody else has a question. Perfect. They're just thanking. Anybody else has a question, just go ahead and raise your hand or click on the button that says raise hand, and I'll be more than happy to, anything personally, like if you want to share something, look, ask the questions about your kind of way of channeling or anything else. All right. If not, I could ask Helané to go ahead and just, let's go ahead and just do the speaker view.
There's a couple questions now.
Okay.
From Yale and Rosie.
Oh, here you are. Okay. Let's go ahead to Yael. Yael, somebody new I just recently met as well. Beautiful being. Go ahead, sweetheart.
Hi, I have just one small question about people who are letting entities in. Are you planning to do some study about it, about if they can regain their clarity and their being here on Earth instead of being astral and not being really rooted, to prove that actually it's not necessarily something you need to give medicine and numb it down, but that there are other ways of recentering them. And thank you for your
Are you
time.
talking about non-humans that exist in our on Earth, or
well, who managed to get embodied in somebody's body?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, okay. Did you understand that, Helena?
I think so. I can answer it in a couple ways. One is, the trance channelers that we have in our studies are pretty well grounded. And so through their training, they have already learned how to do that. They do it through, their mental, energetic processes, through their diet, through exercise, through different ways of self-care to ensure that their body stays healthy through this sometimes intense process, so trance channeling can be hard on the body sometimes. And then I think you might be talking about people who may not be so skilled, who have attachments or who have, entities that come onto them. And, this is a phenomenon that, again, we can't prove through science, but so many different cultures have this concept of, an earthbound or some sort of being, non-physical being that attaches to a living person and affects them in some sort of negative way, whether it's malicious or not. The shamanic tradition deals with this very well, has structured protocols to do depossessions. There's many other indigenous cultures that, use their medicine people to do the same thing. In the spiritualist community in Brazil and the UK, they have specific protocols that they do to help clear people. I don't know of a lot of people in the West outside of mediums and energy healers who do that type of work. We actually just finished a study with Reiki masters and clairvoyant seers who were able to see that and do some of that work. So I think it depends. I don't want to say depends. There's many paths to support people in that situation once they realize it. And again, it's about using your inner wisdom to find the next best step to support that person, or if it's you, to get help for that situation.
Is there something else you wanted to share that you have not yet shared with anybody? Anything that you want to say besides them going and buying the book right now from Amazon? I'm already seeing people saying, hey, we just purchased it. We just purchased it. So anything else, Helané?
Oh, sure. Sorry, I thought you were going to ask Rosie her question.
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, in a little bit.
Is there anything else that I want to say? I said it already, but I really want to highlight this. Inviting you to have an attitude of love and kindness and compassion for yourself in this process, and that your path is your path. And it will likely look incredibly different from other people's path. And to trust that, and to trust that your unfolding is perfect exactly as it is, and to continue tuning into your inner wisdom to discover the next best step for you. And that channeling works the best on the next best step. It's not going to tell you what's going to happen 5 years from now. It's going to guide you for what to do right now in this moment and just beyond. So I invite you to just be really gentle and curious and have fun.
Yes. Oh my goodness, Helané. Oh, wow. Can we just all clap for her? Yay. You are amazing. And you will come again because there's so many subtopics under that. And I want to bring you again and again. And I love the fact that we opened about the children, and everything that you shared was so amazing. I love you, dear cousin.
Thank you.
And I know there's a wedding that's coming up that I'll be seeing you in person. And so I'm so excited about that. And just last words, last words you want to share with anyone before we go about your book maybe? And,
Deep gratitude. Yes, please buy the book. Have that as your support of coming out of the closet, supporting others to come out of the closet. We are launching an evergreen 8-module Science of Channeling course on October 15th. Please go to noetic.org. Get on our email list. We have all of our publications there of all these studies and blogs in general language so you can understand what they're about. So many different offerings that are available to you through the IONS community, and as this work continues to unfold.
I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Of course, do stay if you need to, but I know you probably are busy, but please do stay because we want you to be here, present here with the next segment. For those of you who decided to stay, thank you so much. Big hug to you and big love to you. And I can't wait to continue reading the book because it's really, really exciting. All right.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Yes. With that, of course, you know how to. Thank you, Helané. I love you. With that, you're an adult, you need to take a break, you could go for it, but I'm going to continue, continue our journey together. Maha, hi, Maha. Kifek, Habibti. Can you unmute? Here we go. I asked you to unmute. Can you do that?
Did.
Here you go.
There you go.
So everyone, this is Helané's mom.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be here.
And how wonderful the generations are here, right? And she's my first cousin. Our moms are sisters. And I just want you to just share whatever's in your heart, of what you just heard your wonderful daughter share and anything that you want to share. And see, are you open to doing a channeling for us today?
We'll see. I just wanted to say a few words about people that I am a trance channeler, which means for me is that I step aside and spirit comes through and speaks. So for me, I have to be in an altar space and allow. So it takes trust, it takes surrender to make this happen. And I know Helané and you, Sahar, have talked a lot about channeling and different, facets of it. But I will just focus on what I do. So it didn't just happen to me, even though my mom was a medium and all that. But for me personally, it took time because I myself didn't trust in the beginning. And so my channeling ability didn't show up till I was in my 40s. So other things play a part in you developing your own channeling abilities. So in time, if you choose to, it's like any other sport, for instance, you have to train yourself, your body. So it took many years for me to become who I am now as a channel. And who I am now is a vehicle for highly evolved beings, for archangels, angels, loved ones to come through and guides, give messages to people in order to support them. And again, Spirit always says they can tell you whatever, but at the same time, you have the free will to take it or not, or make your own mind's decision about whatever the message is. Sahar keeps telling me to do this on the air, and I'm not that. I've done it, but it's a challenge. And because I have to step aside, it just takes a few minutes, and then whoever comes through. I do have fantastic guides and Archangel Michael protection that I trust who will come forth will be perfect. So, okay, let me do a little bit of channeling.
Beautiful. So let me ask you something, Maha. Should we have people just share about their experience about today while you're getting ready, or you want to just go ahead and go for it right now? How do you feel about it?
They're ready.
They're ready. Okay, they're here. When they're here, everyone, because I meet with her all the time, they're ready. Okay, so please keep your mics muted. I'm going to mute mine and just begin. And go ahead, sweetheart.
It'll just take a few minutes for them to align me. But what I do, I step aside. It's like I go into an altered space and meditative space.
Greetings, everyone. What a pleasure it is to be in your presence. Fantastic, amazing beings. Thank you for including us. Please know that each of you has your own guides that wish very strongly to work with you. Be aware of it, please. Please. They will not help as much unless you ask them a question or ask them for help. If you do, then you will be supported immensely. And know that you are always are not alone. You have your guides, your loved ones that choose to be around you to help, but always go within yourself and trust your own inner wisdom. Blessings to you all. We will not take more than this moment to bless you. And please know all that was said is imperative for all of you, because awaken to who your soul is. And with that knowing, you can do much in this world to create peace and love and harmony amongst yourselves first, for your own soul's purpose, and for humanity and for Earth. Blessings to you all. Yes.
Wow, that was amazing. Every single time, Maha. Thank you so much. And make sure you drink water and take your chocolate, because she has to have, right? I always get that.
That's one thing, because I go into altered space in order to fully be present in my body and be grounded. Dark chocolate only.
Yes, dark chocolate only. Good. So I want to open the stage for everyone to participate in asking any questions, or I'd love to hear your shares, your experiences of today. I want to meet you. I want to hear your voices. I don't know why. I'm just called to call on Ahmed. Ahmed, I feel like Ahmed wants to say something and say hello, or I want to hear about your experiences, my brother from Kuwait. By the way, I was born in Kuwait, and he was the first one I met on Clubhouse from Kuwait. And I was so excited. So we're friends now. I'd love to hear, please, from your heart, share what was your experience, whatever it is that you're called to share.
First of all, I want to thank you for doing this, and to be honest, first time I experienced this on a virtual, with the Zoom call, and I'm just open and receptive to go with it and to go through it, and that's my experience, and I appreciate the fact that I'm experiencing this new experience. Have I done it before? Not on this scale, not in this fashion, like a group and with you. And I got to know Sahar more, and that's very important element, that I have that relationship, so I can grasp it more, or I can, as you said, the ultra level. I'm not there yet, but that's how I felt.
Thank you so much for your insight, Ahmed.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so nice to see you in person. This is so wonderful. Every month,
Sahar.
Inshallah, you could come.
Inshallah.
All right.
Yeah, beautiful energy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Who else has anything? I would love to hear from you, your insight, even if, what you heard from Maha, even though I know I see Hela's here. Anybody else has anything to say or would like to share from this, of what you heard? Anybody else would like to have any insight? Andre, do you have anything to say about your experience of today?
Just taking it in, really. Thank you, Maha. That was That was amazing. Not only the words, but the energy. Like, yeah, even through Zoom. I mean, we know there's no distance in the astral realm, but sometimes technology can be a barrier. But still, even through the screen, like that energy could be felt very, very strongly, and there was more transmitted than just the words. So, thank you for that.
You're welcome. I appreciate you being here. Who else? Hala, would you like to say something? Would love to hear from you. Beautiful actress, actor. Go ahead.
Thank you, Sahar. Thank you, everyone. This has been definitely a learning adventure. I've learned quite a lot from all of you. I have been kind of in and out because I'm still at work, and I did have right now a very, very difficult patient that got my blood boiling, but I think all of your energies combined kept me really calm. So thank you for that. I'm just really excited to learn more and hear more about this. So again, I'm very grateful to be a part of this room. Appreciate it.
Thank you, beautiful. All right. Who else? Please let your voices be heard. All right. Yael, go ahead. What has your experience been? Go ahead, sweetheart.
Immediately as Maha went into it, I felt the crown chakra, and I felt like catapulted over to Maha. I almost had like nausea. I don't know if this is what you usually had as a kid, but I can totally get you. And I really had to touch wood and kind of ground myself because it was massive. And I've experienced stuff, and but I was in a different situation but I was
let's stay here. I want to hear about the now.
Yeah, no, so it was very shaking me because I really felt immediately I need to ground myself here instead of just catapulted to Maha.
Yes, I love that. That's
I don't
powerful.
know how everybody else has it, but I was like,
yeah.
I was relieved when it stopped, so I didn't need to ground myself so strongly here. So sorry if I took so much time.
No worries. Thank you. We just want to keep you here because we're here right now. I know a lot of us have stories they want to share. My job as a facilitator to keep you here in this energy. Anybody else would like to share? They could just wave your hand. We want to hear your voice. Yes, go ahead, Mari.
I could not, I started sobbing.
Oh, yeah. And that's just such a short period of time. I tell you, when I'm in presence of Maha in her home, because I go visit, and her home is my second home when I go to the Bay Area. I live in Southern California. She's in the Northern California, and I go visit often. And when I'm in her presence and her home, can you imagine? I get all the information that I need for my projects, for my work, for everything that I ever need. It's just the most incredible, beautiful, holy space I could ever be. So thank you, dear Maha, for experiencing this. Anybody else has anything they could go ahead? Oh, go ahead, Maha. And I see that Suzanne, maybe she might have a question.
I just wanted to for the other two ladies, just to let you know, and everybody else, Spirit had always told me that, like somebody else I think said, there's no space for them. So for instance, when I'm channeling, even though we're on this
Zoom
computer, they are with you. You know, the energy of Spirit is with you personally, because my ability to channel expands. There's no space limitation to it. So thank you both ladies for sharing what you did. And Yael, it's very good that you grounded yourself, because if you are an open vessel, then you will feel much more of the energy. So please be aware of all that. And the emotional release is the energy of Spirit allowing that to happen for you. So thank you for sharing.
I love it. Thank you so much. Susan, sweetheart, go ahead.
Hi, greetings from my car. I have to say, it's just been such a treat. I couldn't be at home, and I thought, what the heck, just try it from the car. I'm actually in a truck. But I just wanted to recognize the beauty of all of you presenters as a family. And I think that we sometimes don't fully understand the gravity and the graciousness and the power of our families, and that you have all presented, Helané and you, Sarah?
Sahar, yes, Sahar. Yeah.
Sahar, sorry, it's my first time in this network, and so I'm really so delighted. And Maha, also that you are presenting after your daughter presented about her book, which she feels is her, you know, her life's work and path. Like, truly, this is like this most beautiful blossom. Actually, I'm a landscaper, so I think in terms of blossoms, but this is truly the most beautiful blossom and timely, generous, pure, loving delight. So I just want to say thank you so much. You really lit my my day. And
Oh, that's so sweet of you. We receive fully. Thank you. Yes. And we are our family. What a blessing. We all just so cohesive and we so love each other. And, you know, I keep telling Maha, I think maybe God made a mistake. I should have been their family unit, not mine. Not that I don't love, but they're not like me, right? But I said, at least you're my cousin. So that's good enough. I love it. I love it. Anybody else has to share anything that anybody else wants to share? Because I want to make sure everybody's being seen, being expressed. This is very important.
So my hand is up.
Yes, go ahead. Natalie, beautiful Natalie. How are you, sweetheart?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy to see you this close, right?
Yes, yes,
not just
I love
the
it.
voice. I'm very happy, and I'm so, I don't even know, so touched for all of the things that were presented, discussed. I am just overwhelmed in the most delicious of ways. Got to spend my little moment alone with you guys, and I just wanted to say thank you for inviting me, Sahar. I don't know that I would be here if not for your purposeful reach out. So thank you, and to many more. I hope to return. Thank you, and thank you, Maha. Thank you so much. So incredible.
I love that.
Thank
I
you.
love that. Thank you, sweetie. Talk to you soon.
Yes, please.
Consuela, do you have something to say, sweetheart? Go ahead.
Oh my goodness, Sahar, thank you for inviting me. What a beautiful experience, your entire families and friends. This is the first time I've ever had to attend something like this that's so powerful. You know, Mother Mary and, God has been always so powerful in my entire family. And has been so connected from my grandmothers and such. We've never had to explore any of this, but I just feel like she's with me. And I'm in the mission every day walking. So I still have to explore all of this channeling and all of this. When you went into your channeling, I don't know what it is. I turned off my video just to hear the voice. And I just, because I had such a heaviness in I have an illness I go through every day, that it just felt like I was lifted, in a sense that my clarity, my heavy in my headspace became clear, and that I actually felt it right into my heart. And I was just hearing every single word you were saying to me, because not only you were speaking to everyone, but it was actually touching every single part of my soul. And that it was okay to do this type of practice. And I would love to explore it some more, because I think it's just so present. And Sahar, I just have such this connection with you.
Yes.
When you said you have been with Mother Mary since the beginning, and I want to explore that. I really, truly do. Because there's been so many whispers and signs that I've been journeying for the past 15 years, and I know it's been since I was a kid, but I never knew what it is. So.
Oh, that's so beautiful. For those of you who don't know, that is so beautiful. We both fully receive it. For those of you who don't know, I do readings as well. I do channelings, and I do If you have not experienced it right now until early October, they are completely gift from me to you. We do 15 to 20. If you have any questions for spirit guides, I don't know, I might even just do maybe one or two for those of you who haven't experienced my channeling ability as well. This is the kind of work I'm in, you know, as you see my whole family. I do work with clients privately. For those of you who are working currently with me, thank you for being here. For those of you who are, you know, wanting to learn more on how to do that, I please reach out to me. Most likely I will be sending you an email. We have a newsletter that's coming up that is going to talk about all the opportunities. Do reach out to me. You know, you could go to my IG if you're on Clubhouse, or you could even email me and I'll have Alex write the email. I want to support as many people as possible through this experience. And I want to bring others that are here to share their gifts that need to be heard by the masses, like Helena and Meha. So Susan, just get yourself settled. You don't have to do anything, just being present completely. I'm going to go ahead and take a couple of deep breaths in from my nose. And going to ask for guidance and support from my higher self, from Archangel, Ascended Master, Only Light Being to be here with me today. And of course, they're already here. The energy is so beautiful here. They're all dancing and they're ready to support you in every single way. So just go ahead and envision a golden light over your crown chakra if you have not done so, Susan. Everybody else, please. And surround your whole entire physical body with the light of protection. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And do you give me permission to do a body scan just to energetically tap into your field, see what's going on? Susan, yes? Okay, perfect. So interesting. Typically when I see that somebody's having a tug of war with their masculine and feminine, it's like literally there's like that part of them, which is the right, which is the masculine, and the left is the feminine. And they're like they're really like, I don't want to say the word arguing, but like they're trying to pull left, right. No, I'm going to be doing this. No, I want to be in the being. No, I want to be in the doing. And this is what's happening right now in your energetic field. It's like you may lead with your masculine, but the feminine really wants to make herself present to you. Okay. And the feminine just wants to let go and allow the creativity. I heard you say that you do landscaping, which is so creative. It's art, it's beauty, it's flowers. And then there's that masculine all of a sudden that wants to step in and say, no, we have to do more. We have to do this and do, because the masculine is about the doing and the feminine is about the being. And so there's this contradiction that's going within you. Which direction do I go? Spirit guides want you to know that you could do both. And if you really focus and you're aware of what it is that you really truly desire in life, right? And which part of you, the masculine or the feminine, wants to be leading, just know that you have to go within and put your hand on your heart and just ask spirit guides. All right, spirit guides, you know, I am tired, I'm exhausted of doing. What do I need to do? And of course, the feminine is always the receptive one. The feminine is always the one that really is the one that really surrenders to what is, and they're inviting you to just surrender to what is at any given time. At any given time, please mute your mic. At any given time, when you feel like that, this, I just want to take off and I just don't want to do anything anymore, give your permission to be okay and surrender that. The masculine will take care of things. Everything will be fine. Nothing is going to collapse. Just be in the present of your feminine. Go on walks. Obviously, you're a landscape, so you're constantly in the gardens and constantly on the planet. Take your shoes off, do your gardening or do whatever it is, the landscape that you need, barefoot. They're inviting you, if you see a tree, hug it, connect to it, touch it, feel it, smell the roses, be in that presence as you are doing. You can also be in the being. You can be in the being while you're doing. That's the message for you today. Be in the being while you're doing by taking some pauses, taking a deep breath. Thank you, Spirit Guides. And so it is, and so it is. All right. And that was your message for today. Do you have any insight, anything you want to share, Susan?
Hi. Yes, I first to say thank you so much. And thank you so much to your guides. And what a great message. And it's true that throughout my life, I've kind of been very independent and very focused on exactly doing. And I look forward, I relish, I'm ready to experience more of the surrendering.
Yes.
And art is part of what I do. And because I draw my inspiration from nature, and I think in a way that's about surrendering too. I feel like you've given me a very, like in my heart, I feel like there's a nest and I can just be in this nest and as you say, it will be okay. So that is golden, beautiful.
Thank you. And thank you.
Transition right now. So that's just great information to help me through this transition. And I mean, to help me in general. So it was such a, this is just a strange coincidence that I found myself in your very lovely group and your very dynamic presence. And I just thank you truly. Truly, thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're a beautiful soul. And please do reach out. I'd love to continue our conversation because I did feel the reason that you're going through a transition because you need to be leading with your feminine in order for that transition to be more aligned with the next phase of your life. Just know that as well.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll have more conversation off topic. This is beautiful. Thank you so much. And I know I said I'm going to do one more. So are you open to receiving the gift, Consuelo? All right, let's go for it. Thank you so much. And just go ahead and surround yourself with a golden light. And let me just go ahead and give me permission. Just nod your head for me to do a scanning. Beautiful. Scan. Now, the reason I'm doing this, a lot of times when I would be scanning and I wouldn't see anything, spirit guides go, why don't you brush it off? Brush it off. And I go, what are you talking about? So I start brushing off whatever just in your way. And often I do a lot of yawning or, coughing, but so far, both of you have clear, clean energy, which is awesome. I haven't yawned once, which is really, really good. And I'm just clearing so I could see whatever it is that you're hiding from. I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see it. All right. So I don't know. I just saw you in a pond of water. I don't know if you just recently swam or you're thinking of going to swim or you are near water. Just let me know. I'm seeing a lot of water around you. Are you near water at all, or have you envisioned you being near water? Yeah, no, I need you to unmute, please. Hear you. One more time. Here we go.
Okay, sorry. Yes, my plan was I walk by the river.
Okay, all right, beautiful. So you walk by the river and the water is about emotions and about the flow. And there's a part of you that wants to always stay in that flow of the river and just to unplug and just to be, because there's a lot going on in your life right now, isn't there? There's a lot of going on, and there's layers and layers and layers and layers of different things and projects and this, and you're taking care of individuals and like you feel like so responsible. And so when you're by the river, it's like, oh, I'm away from the hustle and bustle of everything and anything. And I'm just being in the presence of the river. And that's me. And there's a part of you that literally wants to take its clothes off and just go in the river and just relax and stay there forever and ever and ever, which is a good thing. But you have a life to go back to. So similar to what we just said with Suzanne, there has to be a balance between the feminine of the being and allowing and trusting that all will be well, as well as the surrender to the feminine of receiving help, receiving guidance from your higher self, from other humans here on earth, and for you, the doing. So they're going to give you something right now. It might not be grasped, but they're going to say something to you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You are not responsible for everyone. Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Even though you think you are, but you are not responsible. There's so many things. There are a lot of responsibilities that you could just surrender to and allow to happen organically. And you know what I'm talking about. We can't give too much details.
Mm-hmm.
You tend to want to give and give and give and give and give and give. You cannot do that anymore. They're inviting you to get a piece of paper and write down all the things that you do and all the things that you're responsible for. And it's going to be your mind is going to be blown away. But there's so many things that you could easily remove from the left column into the right column. Either let it go because it's not your responsibility anymore, and or let somebody else take care of it. Are you following us? Do you know what we're talking about? We're giving you permission to stop being responsible for too many things, too many people, too many projects. That's what they want you to do, and just be and trust the process that everything will work out exactly as they're supposed to. So we want you to take an oath that I, Consuela, will do the best that I can to let go.
I'll do my best I can to let go.
Yes. And just focus my attention on me rather than everybody and their mother, because you have allowed them to come to you. You have allowed them to ask from you. You have allowed them to be the one who is constantly there for them, whoever they are, and you know who they are. No more. You're going to have to learn how to say, no, not now. No, I need to take care of myself. I'm number one. I know it's hard because you have been programmed and conditioned to believe that you need to be the one always, always, always in control of everybody's, life. I'm giving you permission right now. You don't have to. Because we are empaths, most of you, if not all of you, are empaths. Please raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about, that you are, right? You're an empath. You're very sensitive, right? Dark energies tend to want to come towards us and just hang there because they're not able to, especially narcissists who are emotionally unavailable. And they want to hang out with you because you're so light, and they want to mirror you. And you think, oh, they're so wonderful. They're so amazing. They're just like us, not knowing that they have a different agenda. Sometimes they're unconscious. They don't even know. They just want to hang out, take your energy, and you're becoming more and more exhausted. And they're gaining all the energy and you're more exhausted. Then you let go and you go back. Okay. So just invite yourself to like who is it in my life? Like, this is what I teach in my Soulful Leadership online program that I'm launching in December. One of the things is, who am I engaging with? Take an inventory of the people that you are engaging with. All right. And let go of the perception that you're there to save their lives. Unless of course they're your children's total different dynamic, but I'm talking about, or your elderly family or whatever, your parents, but I'm talking about just people, friends, colleagues, associates. There's so many of them. And they keep wanting and taking and taking and taking. Cut. You need to be present to you 100%, to those that love you, and then move from there. That's, I guess, the message. Just being in the feminine and knowing who you hang out with, and, guarding your energy. Again, for those of you who are curious, would like to learn more, please, reach out to me, my assistant, the saharnafal.com. You could actually go to saharnafal.com and you could just schedule a session with Sahar. That's the best way. I'm really working on a brand new website. I'm so excited about it. And it's going to have everything and anything that we've been doing. It's a long, due. And I have a great organization, a company that's doing it. I'm so happy. So thank you, Maha, dear cousin. I love you for being here. Yael, thank you. Amir, thank you, my friend from Kuwait, for being here. I so appreciate you. And of course, Deborah. Oh my goodness. You're Deborah from Chicago? All right, let's just go ahead and just take a deep breath. Being present right now. Just thank you, spirit guides. Thank you, dear Helané, for being here and you're present. Thank you for my beautiful Maha with her present. Thank you, all spirit guides. Thank each and every individual that showed up early on, who left, who came back, who stayed all the way. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, what a beautiful day. I love each and every one of you. Until we see you again, it's going to be the 28th of October. You will be receiving an email. Please join us every time. Not every time we're going to have a guest. Sometimes we might have few guests. Most of the time is just us chatting and meeting and getting to know each other. Sometimes I'll be doing channeling. I'll invite Maha again. Whatever's supposed to unfold, that's the feminine. I don't plan any more of these events. Just guidance. Whoever brings me the energy of what needs to show up will show up, and we'll just have a fun time together. Until I see you either on Clubhouse, Facebook, or everywhere else, I love you all. Take care. Bye-bye, everyone.